Hey everybody, good morning. How you doing? This is Jeebs here. I'm your old composer here at the World Reaction Review and Reaction Music channel. Sorry, I got it all twisted up. Early morning reaction, and the brain cells need a little jump start with the coffee. Okay, the Final Fantasy obviously won that poll, and I cannot believe how many games there are, and it was just a tremendous, it was almost a little anxiety driven trying to find the track to do. Well, at least one thing's for sure with Final Fantasy, it'll be like my journey of Tool, the band Tool on my heavy metal channel. There's going to be a lot for me to go through, so that means there's just going to be plenty reasons for you to come back as I do more Final Fantasy reactions. So this one is called To Zanarkand. Zanarkand? Sorry, I got itchy nose, a little allergy. Zanarkand. And I'm going to do something special here. I'm going to listen to the game version of it, so we'll see it on the video. I'll be able to watch, because I know a lot of people say, dude, you got to watch the trailers and kind of get an idea of what the game looks like. So I'm going to do that, and it's a short track. It's only 2 minutes and 19 seconds, so I'll let that play through, save my comments for afterwards. And after that, I'm going to go to an orchestrated classical version, live version of the track too. I kind of did an A-B kind of thing between original and cover for Destiny 2, I think last week. This one will be unique because it's not necessarily a cover, but it kind of is because I think it's a little longer. So it's going to be really interesting to hear how the live version of this. Before I get going, I also did a little homework, as I'm sure you guys are happy about, because sometimes I'm like, I don't know who did this. This is apparently by a very famous composer in Japan by the name of Nobuo Uematsu, and apparently he's very well known for what is JRPG music composers. Somebody leave that in the comment for me and let me know what that is. I don't want to look it up because I'm lazy, I'm old. I have a cup of coffee and I want to do a reaction, so excuse me, Sally. So let's go ahead and start this. So this is the game version of To Zanarkand. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Let's do this. All right.
Listen to my story. This may be our last chance.
Well, that was really beautiful and very stunning. And excuse me. Oops, sorry. Let me stop this. And it's funny because it kind of removed a little bit of the what I was going to say, because it was like these beautiful piano line the way it's breathing with its dynamics kind of reminds me that a dark journey is about to start. Now that I'm watching this, obviously I'm getting that sensation and marrying the two together. But the piano, the meandering and wandering piano, so fits what I was watching. And then in my mind, I was calculating based on the images and stuff that they were in the middle of or taking a break from one success or from one part of a journey into another one. The beautiful thing about this kind of melodic writing on the piano is the expressions that the pianist can use in order to bring you in and out of a piece without it being over arranged. And what I mean is that there was it kind of moved and flowed slowly. It wasn't to a set tempo, and it's called rubato, and that means that it moves in its own tempo. But you notice that whenever there was some energy to brought into it, the pianist would play a little louder, and then as soon as it got a little bolder, the left hand of the piano went down an octave and gave you some bottom to it. But it was a very pensive, thinking kind of a moment for me listening to this, and then of course watching the video. But it's a beautiful, stunning piece. I can hardly wait to see what it looks like now for the orchestral version. So let's go ahead and let me set up for that. It'll take a second, and I'm going to switch over and let's do this. This is going to be now Final Fantasy X to Zanarkand, if that's maybe how you say it, but this is the live orchestra version. This I'm looking forward to. All right. Okay, there's never a good place to stop for this because it was so emotional. It is so well done, the orchestrating and the arrangements on this. The volleying of the melody at the very beginning is fantastic. What I mean by that is the piano started off with the melody, then turned it over to the flute. So now we're adding an extra element. The flute is such a beautiful... Wind instruments to me are just stunning because human breath has to go through and to produce the sound. There's just something about that when it comes to hearing the especially in flute, you hear a little bit of the passing of the air. You know, there are some instruments that don't, you know, you're not mic'd up that way, where you're not hearing what's the word I'm looking for? I'll get to it some other time. Anyhow, intimacy, the intimacy of the instrument. And as the flute is taking over the melody, it's being doubled below by the piano player, you know, an octave lower. And then it's turned over to, was it the viola? And it just continued on. And as each instrument picked up the melody, the instruments that have already established themselves in the composition stayed and expanded arrangements, still staying close to the melody, but now, you know, not necessarily playing the melody in unison, but taking harmonic liberties, if you was the way it was orchestrated. And then as it starts to build, it gets teed off to the cello. You saw me emotionally move to that. There's just something about the cello that emphasizes a lonely, well played this way, obviously. I mean, you could play Kashmir and Led Zeppelin on a cello, and it's going to sound like Kashmir, and it'll be uplifting. But in the way that it's being played right now, how it just is like kind of this soulful pulling. It kind of reminds me of the moment that I saw in the video with the game of maybe the main character, the guy with the blonde hair and the blue eyes, just like looking over the mountains, that kind of like, oh my God, we got to go through this. And it starts to build, and it gets more support with the orchestra behind it, and the arrangements get so rich. And that is incredibly wonderful dynamics. That's what I love about orchestrating. That's what I love about doing when I do jobs of this nature for, you know, music libraries and things that I do, that I'm allowed to breathe with that and give you emotions without having to go way outside and doing crazy, all kinds of, you know, other arrangements, and using the full power of an orchestra. So the subtleness of these compositions are so beautiful and so pulling. So it looks like now we're going to get back into where the pianist is going to kind of maybe give rebirth to the melody a little bit, and we'll see. I won't say anything anymore. Oh my gosh. That ending was extraordinary, absolutely unbelievable. And I got a little emotional. I did, in that one part of the passage where the piano is doing these, was it the fifth? I can't think right now. It just reminded me of something that my father taught me when I was a kid about a phrasing of something. And for some reason, that was like a powerful memory trigger for me in my, you know, soundtrack of life on a personal level. And so I got a little emotional. Like, I didn't cry. I'm not crying, you are. That ending was so pulling and so emotional and so wonderfully performed. And remember, I was struggling with that word when I was saying intimacy, and then I really kind of took a look at the size of the group of musicians that were there, and that is a very intimate group of musicians based on an orchestral piece that could be ginormous. The way this particular piece was composed from the original and orchestrated, that ending was so powerful, yet so simple. And hang on, before you come for me in the comments, simplicity is probably one of the most difficult things to execute and pull off emotional triggers. If you're a musician, you know what I'm talking about. And then if you're an artist, you know, anything that you may create with your hands sometimes, you know, it's just, there's that thing sometimes that you figure out on your journey as an artist, whatever you do really in life. Don't worry, I'm not going to turn this into one of those, but you find that when you have one of those moments going like, wow, that was just so simple, but it was just so stunning. This was it. And the pianist on this is absolutely fabulous. Her emotions and dynamics through the performance were just outstanding, which I'm sure you agree with me on this. Anyhow, this was great. This was a wonderful way for me to get into this weekend. I feel that, like, right now I'm still kind of resonating with that little emotional trigger that I have right now, because that was as simple as that move was so powerful. It kind of gave you hope. And even though my father had passed away already almost 10, 12 years now, it brought back that vibe, you know, and that's what we are. That's what we're here about with music. That's what music's all about. Whether we're playing video games or we have to just drive off into the hills or to the beach or stuff and listen to our favorite music and just be able to chill. That's what music's about. It's that escape lever, you know, it's that whatever. Anyhow, I drifted. I'm getting old now. Now I'm waxing eloquently in my wisdom-riddled Jeeves, Obi-Wan Kajibski kind of way. Thank you so much for hanging out. This has been a wonderful adventure and journey with me, with the OSTs on this channel. Thank you for the support. People have been buying me a cup of coffee, or they see the little heart with the $sign, and you can, you know, do a, what's it called, a super thank you or tip or something. Or if you're interested in the headsets, all the links are down below. You guys have a great weekend. I hope this is leaving you with as much as a warm vibe as it is me right now, because I am just lit right now. It's all good. You guys take care. Have a great weekend. See ya.